for myself. Okay? So I put that together, and again, if you want to, we go all back all the way to 1976. I still keep them and show how it went and produced and so forth. Next thing is, develop a project tracking mechanism. I'll show you the one I use in just a minute. But what you need to understand is when you're doing papers, and I'll show you more specifically in a minute, they're going to go through different stages. Okay? From conception to publication. But what you don't want is all of them right there. You can't handle 20 projects, most people can't, that are just started. What happens if I've got 20 over here that are revise and resubmit? That means my pipeline's empty now. So what I try to do is balance stuff in various stages of publication, review, development, and so forth, and just conceptualize it, looking at the ceiling. Okay, so this thing makes me think of it like a chain of distribution. I've got to have products distributed through the entire chain. I can't have it at the manufacturing level and the retail level, and nothing in between to supply the consumer. Okay? And I'll show you mine in a minute. Again, it's idiosyncratic to me, but you could take it, change it, do something with it that might have more meaning for it. Develop a 3 to 5 year project. I call them research suites. Here's the next 3 years. These are the topics that I'm going to be working on. Will I get them all done? The answer is no, but again, I've mentally committed myself to do these things. Normally, if I commit to something, I'll do it. If I tell you I'm going to be here, except with a Jordanian navigator, I'll be here at 5 o'clock, I'll be here at 5 o'clock. Okay? I will show up, I'll be prepared. Okay? And the answer is, this makes me start thinking about these things through, 2 years before I need them. And why do I do that? And what I have in my office, and I don't do it down here, so Sam hasn't seen it. I have a thing that I call ovens. Okay, like you're baking your food. And there are those accordion brown folders. And I've got probably, if you walk in my office, there's 50 of them. And what it is, I'll say, gee, I've got an idea. Boom, I put it in the oven. And I know there's an oven that has this title on it, which is the development of an repatriation program in a global organization. Okay? And then I'll be thinking and reading and talking to somebody, and a theory comes up. Oh, I wonder if that, boom, right in the oven. Then I'll say, okay, if I got a theory like that, then here's the first diagram. Boom, right in the oven. And I just keep putting stuff in this oven, and at the same time, I'm doing it in other ovens. I've got 50 of them sitting there. And then I'll say, okay, now I'm very interested in the concept of time. How is time a strategic tool? My folder on time is this thick. I'm ready to write an article on time. I've already written 4 or 5, but I'm ready to write. I know what I want to do. I've read all that material. I've done it. Saturday mornings, I've pulled all the stuff that fits into that oven, and I'm ready to go. And there's another one right behind it that's ready to go. There's another one right behind it that's ready to go. I don't finish a paper and say, oh crap, now what do I do? Okay? The thing that you have to understand is by having all these things and not being serial, every time you write a paper, you're going to get to a point where you get stumped. And you're going to go, I don't know what to do. And you're going to sit there, you're going to fret. It's like writing your dissertation. You're going to sit there and fret, and time just goes on and on and on. What I do is I say, okay, I'm stuck, going to project number 2. And I'll start working on that. But the whole time, what am I doing? I'm thinking about project 1 in the back of my head. But I'm getting something else done. Boom, I get stuck, project 3. I typically work on 10 to 12 projects at a time, writing papers. Okay? That's multitasking, but that's also being ADHD. I can do that. I can jump around real easily. Sometimes I forget the people I'm working with, but I can remember the projects, and I can list them off for you just right here and say, I'm stuck at this level, I'm stuck at this level, because you're going to get stuck. And if you only work on one project, you're going to sit there and time's going to go away from you. You can't let that happen. So, have a 3 to 5 year research program. I've got a 3-year program because I'm too damn old. 5 years, I'm dead. Develop a career research strategy. Are you a theorist? Are you a disseminator? Or what are you? Because what you want to do is play in those boxes to build up your competencies. Don't be bouncing around the world. I'm not saying topics. You can bounce around on topics, but get a profile. If you ask John Slocum who I am, he'll say he's a dreamer. He's an agnostic. He's a heretic. He's a person that challenges the academy all the time. I was talking yesterday about one of my students got up very recently in front of a group of consumer behaviors. There were 350 people in the room, and Melanie's first comment was, "I hate Mike Harvey." She said, "I hate him. He's made my career the hardest thing in the world because I learned how to think. And every time I think, people don't want me to do that. They want me to put my sand on the beach." Her best article she's ever written is on the symbolic meaning of Thanksgiving dinner. Now, that's hard to turn into an outstanding paper, one of the outstanding paper in the Journal of Consumer Research, because she visualized all these things and how they came together and made it the event that it is. Get a strategy, know who you are, know what box fits you, and play to that box. Don't, as I did the first year, try to be somebody else. Okay? And it made sense to me because all the articles were getting published had quantitative approaches to them. And I thought, well, I guess that's what I've got to do. And I do them, and they were just kind of mediocre. Everybody kind of looked at them and says, who cares? Develop a formal research plan. That's the one we just had. Develop a research plan for over 5 years. Develop a unique process. We're going to get to all these things. Learn to multitask. Don't work on one project at a time. It will kill you. If you try to work alone, it will kill you. If you try to work with the people in this room, it will kill you. They're not good enough to help you because they're at the same stage you are. You know, you're learning how to swim. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to swim with him. Well, hell, he doesn't know how to swim any better than you do. You got to get with people who know how to swim and they'll say, okay, I'll pull you along for a while. Jerry Ferris sits right there. He's got people that are in all stages of their career on those teams. I work on one of his teams. He calls us the outlier team. Let's come up with something crazy. Okay? Develop the network, position papers for specific journals. One of the things you have to learn very quickly is what is the profile of journals that you're going to try to submit to. Do not write a paper and say, where are we going to send this? That's bizarre. You'll never get it accepted. You have to look at that journal and say, this is what they want. Journal of Applied Psychology right now, they want 3 different samples from 3 different populations and compare them. Every article has that in there. So don't send them one that has none in it. I'm the editor of Journal of World Business. Don't send me an article that uses students as subjects. We've never printed one in 42 years. Why would you send it to me? Don't send me something about international business where I sell from one country to another, I import, I export, when the whole world is globalizing. We want the journal to be global. Our editorial review board is global. So don't send me something that's doing this. I'm not interested in it. So what you do is you write papers for very specific journals. One of the biggest problems you'll have is, which happens 85% of the time, your paper is going to be rejected at that journal. The average hit rate of reasonable journals is about 15%. The journal I'm editor of, it's 8%. Okay, so you write an article for Journal of World Business, it doesn't fly. Now what you got to do is you got to say, okay, don't just send this out to another journal. I've got to reposition it for the journal that I'm going to send it to. You have to take the comments of the reviewers positively and put that into a context so that you can sell it to somebody else. Don't send out a generic product that sends me something with student population. It will not be published.
So you are allowed to submit it to another journal?
One at a time, but when it's rejected, you bring it back, make the modifications, send it out. But you can only send it to one at a time. Which to me is bad because the delay in reviewing and everything has gotten so. The Journal of International Business says the best journal in my field. The average turnaround time is 18 months. Okay, my journal is the second best journal in the field. Our turnaround time is 5 weeks.
Slow down your application.
How are you going to